Ben Johnson just praised Cole Kmet in a way that nobody else is really talking about. Jaylon Johnson drops a huge hint on his availability for Sunday's game, and I want to talk about one of the biggest things holding back the Chicago Bears offense from truly being elite. We're getting into all that and more on today's Chicago Bears Central.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Eric Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And Ben Johnson talked a little bit about Cole Kmet. He said this: I thought Cole played one of his best games he has so far this year. I get he caught a couple more balls, but I'm not even talking about that. He's great in the running game, and the pass pro, we put him in some tough matchups. There's one of some of their defensive ends or outside linebacker types. I thought he did an outstanding job throughout that. He was a ball carrier. You felt his presence out there. He was lowering his shoulder. He was stiff arming. He brought our sideline to life a couple of times. Cole Kmet is an interesting, talking point for a lot of Bears fans. You have your segment of the Bears fandom that thought and still thinks that Cole Kmet should be traded since we drafted Colston Loveland. We know that in 12-man personnel, you want to have two solid tight ends, and the Bears for the last couple of years have brought in different tight ends to try to be that tight end pairing with Cole Kmet. You now add Colston Loveland to that, a guy that is one of the best route runners on the Chicago Bears team. And while Cole Kmet's season, as far as receiving-wise, hasn't been what we saw a couple of years ago, he has 16 receptions for 192 yards and one touchdown so far this season with 7 games left. He could pass up that 474 from last season, but he's far off from the 719 he had in the 2023 season for the Chicago Bears, for example. But regardless of that, Cole Kmet has been used more of a blocker than in the past game this season, which has been much to the behest of a lot of Chicago Bears fans that wanted to see him get more targets, and that's legitimate. But he is here. I think this comments from Ben Johnson shows that, the things that we talked about with Cole Kmet not necessarily being as utilized in the past game, maybe designed a little bit because they are appreciating the way that he has been run blocking and pass protecting on this season so far, and that could be why you're seeing a little bit less there. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's second to Colston Loveland or anything like that. That could come when it comes down to it, right? Colston Loveland caught 3 passes for 40 yards, including a 24-yard reception on a 3rd and 13. That was huge for the Chicago Bears, right? Like, the Bears tight ends are starting to see more. And I think last week, especially when you're facing off against the blitz, your tight ends are going to be something there that you absolutely need, right? But when you look at it, both Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet, and Durham Smythe all finished with positive run blocking grades, which is important, especially as we're trying to uncover more in that run game as well. But Ben Johnson's comments just go to show like how, what their role is and what they're asked to do isn't quite always what is in line with what fans think that a player's role is. I think that's something that's been evident for the Bears for a while, right? But he did have 5 receptions for 45 yards in a game where we didn't get much going in the air. Now, as I've said many times before, as we're heading towards this playoff push now for the Chicago Bears, it comes down to, can you get this 2 tight end set? What can you uncover in that? The running game with having the dual threats and DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai, what are you consistently unlocking with that? Cole Kmet has been having a really nice impact for this Bears team, but the statistical impact is something that, people really look at, and I do think that's going to be there more for him as we go through the season, because we're facing off against some very tough defenses that, Caleb Williams is going to have to learn to trust his tight ends a little bit more. Ben Johnson's going to have to scheme for those tight ends to help create some seams and stuff for not only the running game, but their wide receivers as well. So all those things going, as good as the Chicago Bears offense is doing, and best believe, the Chicago Bears offense is, despite whatever you want to say about Caleb Williams or anyone else, we have one of the best offenses in the game of football. That's not even up for dispute. That's objective stats when you look at it. We're 8th in points per game, and we know how we've struggled in points per game, which I'll get into that a little bit here in a minute. We're 13th in passing offense at 227 yards per game, We're now second in rushing offense, averaging 146 yards per game, which is crazy. And we're fourth in total offense. The Bears are fourth in third down conversions, second in turnovers. We don't allow a lot of turnovers, and fifth in sacks allowed. That's a really good spot for this offense to be in. But the key spot that this offense really has to grow in is red zone scoring. We're 20th in the league in red zone scoring, and we're scoring on 54% of our red zone opportunities. But the problem isn't just the percentage that we're scoring or not in. It's how many touchdowns we're leaving on the table in the red zone, right? And that is where I do think that that us, using our running backs more, using our tight ends more can help as well. I think those are areas that can help us be better at scoring in the red zone. If this Bears team was more towards even the top 13 in the league of red zone scoring, you're talking about then flipping it from us averaging 25 points per game to almost 36 points per game, which will put us towards the top of the NFL. That's how much red zone scoring and not getting touchdowns in the red zone has really held this offense back from truly being elite. So now that you look at that, right, and I think that directly correlates to us using, like I said, the running backs and the tight ends more, intentionally, and as just having a better production with that. You do that more consistently, we can seriously see this Bears team flip from being a really good offense to an elite scoring offense, which some could say if we're top 10 in the league in scoring anyway, we're close to being elite. So, that's one thing that's said, even throughout, people who say, well, the Bears ain't really beat nobody. Oh, the Bears are doing this through last minute magic. So how good is it? We're top 10 in the league in scoring, right? Now, our defense, that's where the statistics hurt us a lot at. But again, that red zone scoring, if the Bears can get higher and that we can move up 4 or 5 spots between now and the end of the season and be more consistent with scoring in the red zone, that's what really could take the top off this offense. And at that point, we could be in a spot where we're scoring consistently 30 points per game. And that's going to win us more games. And we're going to need that over the stretch that we're on as well. Now, we got a matchup coming up against Pittsburgh that's going to be without Aaron Rodgers, who I believe is dodging us. He's not, but, that's just the story I tell myself. But, we got to get that together. And that's something that I'm really looking for as we get Kyle Monangai, DeAndre Swift, and Colston Loveland, and Cole Kmet, and either Luther Burden, who, Ben Johnson backed up his words. Luther Burden was out there a lot more than Olamide Zaccheaus, even though we couldn't get him the ball enough, right? As those things increase, that's what really can take this team to new heights and new levels. And I know that there are going to be some pessimistic Bears fans that say that's impossible with Caleb Williams missing and overthrows. We'd be there then if all that, fuck all that shit. Let's get red zone. Let's get better performance in the red zone, and let's see where this offense then can take us as we go through this playoff push. But shout out to Ben Johnson for throwing some accolades there towards Cole Kmet because he deserves it. Cole Kmet has been a player that, and I want to be clear, he's deservedly gotten some criticism as well. But we did see in last week's game, we say the white rhino was back. That's what we need to see. Cole Kmet is too big, and the combination of speed and strength that he has is too legitimate for him to get taken down by small cornerbacks as much as we've seen. Hopefully this is the sign that we start seeing a little bit better from Cole Kmet more consistently, and then I guarantee you that this, like I said, it's going to contribute to this offense really, really blowing up here over the last 7 games of the season. That potential is there. Let's see if the Chicago Bears can get it done. Let's see if they can get it done. But with that said, from that and utilizing a player better, let's talk about a player that has been out. Jaylon Johnson has been out for the most of the season dealing with a groin injury. He's played in a partial game, but he didn't really look like himself then. And the Bears opened up his 21-day practice window last Friday, indicating that he's healthy enough to resume working with the team, going through full practices, and now it becomes a question about how does he feel and how does that lead to him getting back out there on the football field? Well, things are starting to look up, so much so that Jaylon Johnson could be on the field as early as this Sunday. Montel Fleming, the CEO of FDS Midwest region, he's a rehab specialist in the NFL. He's been one of the guys that's been working with Jaylon Johnson specifically to get him back in game shape. And he posted an update on Instagram this morning that showed him going through drills, and a single quote was posted near the bottom. He's ready. That's it. He's ready. Now, if that's meaning that he's ready to return to football, then let's take what that means. This could be Jaylon Johnson returning at a time where he's needed the most, right? Of course, we know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh and that type of stuff. But when you look at it, the biggest passing threat on that team is DK Metcalf, right? And when you look at him, when teams have held him to 55 or fewer yards in a game, the Steelers are 3-4 on the season. Then when you turn that and then look at Jaylon Johnson last year when the Bears played off against Seattle, Jaylon Johnson was a huge part in us being able to keep DK Metcalf contained, right? So having him back, I'm not expecting Jaylon Johnson to immediately come back and look like the Jaylon Johnson that we saw when he was fully healthy, but getting him back out there. And for Dennis Allen to be able then to attack Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, whatever it ends up being, that could be huge for this team to get Jaylon Johnson back. And I'll say even outside of that, you want Jaylon to get as many reps as possible out there on the football field as you're going through, again, what I'm calling the playoff push, because I am hoping that they are pushing and trying to and contending for a playoff spot. As you get closer and closer to that, you want him to ramp up. You want him to get as many games under his bag to do that, to say what this is going to look like. And, we'll see what happens there. Overall, I'll say this, right? With Aaron Rodgers being listed as questionable, we'll see if he ends up playing, right? He did undergo some tests that did confirm he won't need surgery to address the minor fracture in his left wrist, right? But he has not yet been cleared for doctors to play on Sunday against Chicago. But so with that said, right, getting Jaylon back, and like I've talked about a lot, eventually getting Kyler Gordon back, which Ben Johnson did say Kyler's likely to make a return before the end of the season as well. Getting these two guys back and what that means for this team in this playoff push could be huge. And Jaylon Johnson can and will be a huge part of what the Bears are able to do in the back half of this season as well. And I hope that he's able to get back out there on the field. We know that Jaylon gets shut down the side of the field. Jaylon Johnson is the best guy that we have in coverage, and he makes the game easier on the defensive line. He makes it easier on the other quarterbacks. He just makes it easier. 100% Jaylon Johnson makes the game easier. And it also opens up the playbook for Dennis Allen, somebody who's had to restrict it a little bit with him losing his defensive backs. Keep in mind, with Matt Eberflus, the talk was you need that 3-tech. You need that pressure from the interior defensive line. For Dennis Allen, it's how creative he likes to get with the utilization of his defensive backs. And most of our injuries have come in that secondary consistently for this year, taking away one of the game plan, specialties for Dennis Allen, or at least drastically changing it. You get these guys back as we're going through this season, things are going to change. And you're going to see a much more aggressive play caller in Dennis Allen as well. Something that I know a lot of Bears fans are hoping to see is a lot more aggressive of play calling. You can see more of the blitzing. You can see more of the run blitzing. You see more of everything all up and down the field. It just comes down to we need to get our secondary healthy. And they could be coming at the right time. So whether we see Jaylon Johnson against Pittsburgh or not will remain to be seen. But I tell you what, I'm happy by the chances of him getting back out there on the football field. And if we get Jaylon Johnson back and we get back going in that mode, man, this could be a Bears team, a defense that has been struggling. I talked a little bit about the offensive stats and where the offense ranks. The defense ranks in the bottom in a lot of places, right? We're 26th in points allowed, 23rd in passing yards per game, 25th in rushing yards per game, 27th overall in total defense. We are second, though, in third down conversion rate. We're only allowing teams to convert on 33% of third downs. We're 13th in red zone defense. We're allowing them to score on 58% of red zone situations, and we're 21st in sack rate and first in takeaways, right? We have more takeaways than sacks. We're 21 sacks on the season, 22 takeaways on the season. But getting Jaylon, getting Kyler Gordon back, eventually TJ Edwards back as well, if we can get all these guys back healthy before the end of the season, those are all things that go very well into this Chicago Bears team winning more football games and this defense improving. You pair that with what I called for the offense, man, we could still do some very special and fun things before the end of the season, and we'll see if we can do that, right? One of the things that are, one of the people that have been a harsh critic of the Chicago Bears has been Colin Cowherd, especially over Caleb Williams as well. And he actually talked about the Chicago Bears, and his take on the Bears may surprise some. He said this: Denver is winning ugly. Philly is winning ugly. The Jaguars always win ugly. Chicago's got the second best rushing attack in the league, fourth in total offense, top 10 in yards per play. Those are numbers Vegas cares about. That feels legitimate to me. The number one issue you have with this young team is too many penalties. You got a new coach, a quarterback who is young. They make mistakes, but you can clean that up. Chicago's won 7 of 8 and totally feels legit. I see a young coach, a young quarterback. They're great in the fourth quarter. Now, I'm one to say I don't give a shit about what the national media has to say about the Chicago Bears. But I will tell you this, as somebody who is petty, as somebody who keeps receipts, as somebody who goes back and pulls those receipts quite frequently, it's good to see that somebody who has been so harsh to the Chicago Bears, start eating their words and eating their criticism because this Bears team is playing better. This Bears team is winning football games. And that's a great thing to see, right? Now, I will say this. I give fucks about all whether you love the Bears or not. I do care that this team played in a way and has won in a way that has forced you to look at your take and be like, I might have to run that back. And that's what this team does. Again, winning is the most important thing. Going out there, regardless of how you win, winning football games, it's amazing how that will turn the tide on how people view you, right? Now, Caleb has had some great fourth quarter comebacks, some great fourth quarter drives. There's as always what we talk about with Caleb Williams. And, one thing with this channel, we're always going to be, honest about things. Caleb Williams has things that he also needs to grow from and develop as a quarterback. That's clear. We've said that multiple times. Everybody who actually watches this team objectively will be able to tell you that as well. There's things that Caleb Williams absolutely needs to be better at. But we're seeing that progression. We're seeing that progress. And people that used to hate on him like so bad, it's good to see that some of y'all starting to eat those words. And it's up to Caleb to not to say that Caleb needs to come out and be like, oh, I need to prove Colin Cowherd wrong. No, who the fuck is Colin Cowherd for you to need to prove him wrong? Prove him wrong through just the way you play. Prove wrong through the wins. Prove wrong through the team success that you have. That becomes the most important thing. And that is what this Bears team is doing. And they're doing it fairly consistently. And we're going to be shutting up more and more people as this season goes on. I can guarantee you that. It ain't going to be just me shutting up ECH Bears fan. All right. With that said, let's go ahead and get into it, man. We got one voicemail that I want to get into, man. And this one is from Ant.
Yo, what up, fellas? Ant, the Army vet, calling in about that big dub today. I'll take a win as a win as a win. I always say, I don't care how it comes, how it goes, I'll take the win. But I gotta say something, man, because this is, the Cardiac Bears, they are definitely cardiac for a reason, man. Watching this game makes it feel like, you ever see that movie, Sealistic, with the racing horse? And the only way he beat motherfuckers is when he gotta, bag them up to look somebody in their eye just to look at them and be like, hey, I'm about to beat your ass. And then he take the fuck off. That's what it's like watching this team, man. It's like they gotta look somebody in their eyes and be like, oh, look how close you came. Nope, not enough. Man, just stop giving people palpitations in their heart or whatever they want to call it. I can't take it too much, man. I'm a retired Army vet with a bad heart. Please stop trying to kill me before I can see these boys go at least into a playoff and maybe a Super Bowl run. Can I get there, please? Y'all gonna give me a heart attack one of these days. I'm like Bobby. My wife is gonna tell y'all to pay the bill too. But anyway, I just want to, call in and say I'm happy about the win. I always gonna be happy about the win. I don't care what nobody say. We in first place, and we can at least say in Ben Johnson's first season as a Bears head coach, we was in first place in the division. The last one to say they can do that was Matt Nagy. We had a first round bye out of the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Not a first round bye, but we just exited the playoffs the first round, but we got there. And guarantee if he would have made that kick, man, everybody say the Bears would have went to the Super Bowl that year. That was a special team. If this team in 3 weeks starts playing the way that Ben Johnson is saying they're playing, I'll take these drag-out wins because once he gets to the playoffs, we know that they're going to be able to get to those drag-out wins. And yes, I'm saying playoffs, even though we still got some big games ahead of us. I'm still going to say we're going to the playoffs. But if we can get to the playoffs and we making these easy games look tough or these tough games and grinding out these wins, all it's going to do is make us stronger when we get to the playoffs. Because if we get to the playoffs and we down one score and we got the ball, I'm guaranteeing we winning that game and going to the next round. We've done it all season. We can keep doing it. That's just my thoughts, how I feel about it. Let me know what you guys think. But as always, Chi-town up, bear down. Y'all have a good one.
The Bears just find ways to get it done, bro. I think that's just the thing that we have to say about this team. They just find ways to get it done. And there is something very special about that, right? So I love that this team is finding ways to win. Whether it's ugly, whether it's pretty, whether it's whatever. Like I said, we're finding ways right now to thrive, to survive. Now, let's find ways to go out there and thrive. And that's what comes next. But you have to be able to survive and win games first. And then when you come through, like I said, one of the things that's holding back this offense from being really, really great, I feel, is what I talked about with red zone scoring. We get that together, and I'm telling you, things are going to look much more up for this team overall as we go through the rest of the season. And this playoff push, as I've been calling it, things are going to look much better for us if we get that red zone scoring together. The defense, let's get healthy in the secondary. And we're not done. We haven't even seen the best version of what this Bears team can be yet. And you know why? Because we haven't seen this Bears team really together yet as a whole yet, right? We haven't been whole. We haven't been complete all this season yet. And so as those things continue on for this team as well, we're just going to see better and better and better for the Chicago Bears. I really do feel that. We're just going to keep it going, man, and see what we can develop and what we can grow through. But more importantly, I appreciate you guys, man. So that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of Chicago Bears Central. The Bears keep finding ways to win. It keeps proving people wrong, right? And as a petty person, I love it. The Bears are climbing up the power rankings as well, right outside the top 10, right? So as always, drop your guys' thoughts. What's your reaction to Colin Cowherd finally giving the Bears their respect? How big would it be for you guys if Jaylon Johnson is going to be able to play? Let me know all those things down below. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow us at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.